again, and welcome to another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Gary Mack, and I'm joined, as usual, by the great and the wonderful and talented Mr. Rich Baxter. Rich, hello, and how are you on this lovely, snowy Sunday?
Doing great, Gary, and thanks so much for the intro. Same to you. Your voice of the Baseball Talk Radio Show podcast here, and I'm feeling great. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and I'm always excited for the big game.
It is the big game, and of course, people in Cincinnati and LA getting all excited about their teams being in it. People across the country may or may not be getting excited about their team, about these two teams being in it. But it is Super Bowl Sunday, and any big plans for the big game?
I usually go over to friend's house maybe and watch halftime probably tonight. But as you said, the game's coming in from SoFi Stadium, and I thought I'd give our YouTube listeners a little look at the stadium zone here online, and the brand new stadium out there in LA in Inglewood, California, built right adjacent to Hollywood Park, the old racetrack. I believe it's now a casino out there in LA, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this, and it's right on the approach of LAX International Airport. So any planes coming in today might be flying near the stadium, right over top of it. But that's a little lay of the land where the stadium is. I've been out there a few times. I've driven right down the street. I remember vividly driving down the street there past the Hollywood Park area well before the stadium was built. But looks like a super stadium when they do the Fox broadcast from there throughout the year. And it's built sort of underground. It goes 6 stories underground. So even though it'll be a real hot day out there in LA, the game should be somewhat cool due to that fact that it's built primarily under the surface level.
Yeah, it looks like a beautiful stadium, and as you say, it's brand new for the Rams and the Chargers. Both play there. I did see a report though that the food was nothing spectacular. And, it's hard to believe because California is, sometimes on the cutting edge of food, culinary invention, or if you will. But they said the food wasn't spectacular. They had a picture of some dried up hot dogs and sausages, and it didn't look very appetizing. But who knows? It's their first year. They're getting things organized, maybe, and who knows? But the pictures are beautiful, and if you're on YouTube, you can see some of those, and that's gorgeous with the pond there, or a lake, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I believe it's like a glass roof too. I'm not sure about that, but it's a very modern looking stadium.
Yeah, that it is. And I guess you'd have to give the LA Rams. We'll give our picks in just a minute here. And I know we're a baseball talk show, but we got to give our just dues. We're going to give a few minutes to the Super Bowl before we get into our baseball talk. So I hope our fans that are real hardcore baseball fans that tune in each week will give us a few minutes here to talk about the game. But yeah, Gary, as you said, Super Bowl 56, February 13th. Now that's late for a Super Bowl game. I remember this whole thing being over in January most years.
Yeah, they seem to have stretched it now. They stretched the season out to 17 weeks, and so now they're gonna push this to February. And in a way, it's not a bad idea, uh, because I don't follow football like I used to, but when I used to say it wouldn't be bad if they went to February because then you've only once the Super Bowl's only over, there was only like a week or two then until spring training started. So your sports map or whatever continued on and almost connected. But that may not happen this year. But now it seems that they've pushed it to February and they're going to use February all the time. February is kind of a dead month. There's kind of a lull. The NBA had their All Star game. I think the NHL had it last week. Um, I'm not sure about the NBA, but then that is kind of a mid-season lull to those two sports before it seems to pick up again in March or the mid-March point. So you've got that kind of time
Ho
there.
hum.
Yeah, yeah. Even in golf now, of course, they play the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management, which is very big and popular, and they play that every year on the Super Bowl. So a lot of people will watch that and go right to the Super Bowl because of the excitement there. It's one of the loudest events on tour because they have that stadium hole where they actually have it enclosed with stands, um, and it's a you know people drink a lot of adult beverages and it gets pretty raucous there. But yeah, it's a big day, and I know there were pushes to try to make the day after Super Bowl a national holiday, so people would get off from work and wouldn't go. They might as well just give them the day off because a lot of people call in anyway. Take sick days or vacation days and stuff like that. So, uh, but I don't know. I always thought maybe they should play it on a Saturday, and I think they probably don't do that because Saturday traditionally has been college football day, and Sunday is the NFL football day. So, if they moved it to a Saturday, you'd have Sunday to recover.
Yeah, that's for sure. Super Bowl Sunday here. Kickoff is 6:30 p.m. in the East. A nice 3:30 p.m. out there on the West Coast, so it's nice for them. Um, and I thought it would be nice to have a little preview on how these two teams got to the Super Bowl. If you didn't follow football or didn't follow particular teams, some new names in the big game here today. Gone are some of the old names that we remember, Tom Brady and names like that. But for the Bengals, the head coach is Zach Taylor, and Joe Burrow is the quarterback. And here's how they got there this year in 2021, the schedule into 22, of course. And they ended up winning their first game, did the Bengals against the Minnesota Vikings in overtime. And I have the schedule up here on the YouTube version of the show. They lost their second game against the Bears, then bounced back for two victories. Lost in overtime to the Packers. A lot of people thought the Packers would be in the Super Bowl this year,
Yeah,
and
certainly.
there's only room for two teams. So the Rams beat the 49ers by 3, and the Bengals ended up in overtime beating the Kansas City Chiefs by 3. So here's the rest of the season for the Bengals, how they finished out and got to the big game. With the playoffs, they beat 3 teams: the Raiders, Titans, and of course the Chiefs. So a 10-7 regular season record was good enough to get this team into the big game. So amazing that happened for them. And let's just take a look at the Los Angeles Rams real quick here. They finished with Coach Sean McVay 12-5 on the year, regular season there. And they started off with 3 wins in a row right off of the bat in September there. lost a game, then ran a 4-game winning streak here from October 7th. They won all of October, every game. Bounced again with a 3-game losing streak there, and they didn't look real for that stretch in November. But then they woke up again in December and ran the table almost with 5 wins in a row. So they did end up losing to the Niners there in overtime on January 9th, but was enough to get them into the Super Bowl when they beat the Niners by 3 for the conference championships. And those conference championships were really exciting this year.
And interesting, Rich, as you look at that, they beat the Buccaneers twice.
Yeah.
No small feat. So that bodes well. Beating Brady twice in a season. So I don't know what that means, but just something that jumped out at me there, and I don't know. So is it time to do our picks, or?
Yeah, why not? Let's bring in some picks, our picks for the big game, Super Bowl 56. A fun time here on the show. Why don't you explain your first pick and who you're going with?
I was afraid you were going to say that. I guess I'll go with the. I'm not a big fan of either team, to be honest with you. As a Steeler fan, I'm not a fan of the Bengals, and I never liked the Rams. I just never liked the Rams. I don't know.
Franchise.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'll go with the Rams because that they are essentially their home team. They're playing at home.
Yes.
They did beat the Buccaneers twice, which to me means something. Beating Brady twice in one season is pretty. As I said, it's a pretty big thing. I think. Um, they have their strength is their defensive line, and the weakness of the Bengals is their offensive line. So that it's going to be one in the pits there, the game, I think. And the quarterback for Cincinnati, Burrows, is he's young, but he's been the most sacked quarterback, I believe, in the league this year. So um, with the offensive line not being that good, the defensive line for the Rams being excellent, um, I think I have to go with the Rams. Matthew Stafford, of course, all those years we watched that poor guy with Detroit on Thanksgiving Day when he played for Detroit. Good quarterback, terrific. Uh, Detroit Lions, though, it just never a franchise they just can't seem to put it together. I don't know what it is there, but they just can't seem to get it together. He goes to LA now, and of course is in the big game. So I got to go with Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
All right. Very good. That I like that pick. And I sort of wanted to jump on the underdog bandwagon, um, but I think I'm going to stay with your pick, the Rams, by a 27-14 margin. I think the Rams are going to really win this game outright. Don't think it's going to be very close, even. My reasons for that is I don't think Cincinnati really is a Super Bowl team. They did well when they had to. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who were up and down, in my opinion, in the past few games of their season, and they won when they had to win. So, I mean, they got into the game. I like Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow might be a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford. That's the only thing that scares me in this game.
Uh-huh.
So, but I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to share your enthusiasm with them, Gary. 27-14.
I'm not even going to go with a score because I also need to tell you that I'm always wrong on these things. So I always pick the wrong team. So don't go and bet the house if you're going to take my pick. But
Yeah.
I don't know about a score. I'll say I don't think it's even going to be that close. I have a feeling it's going to be a blowout, and it'll be a great game if you're a Rams fan, and if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably gonna last till halftime and then blow the second half off. I don't know. I'm looking for a blowout. Now, are you one of those people that watch the commercials? You watch for the commercials, or and the halftime show? I have to tell you personally, I hate halftime shows. Always hated
Yeah.
them. Even going back to when it was simple, not Super Bowl even, just when they any college game with the marching bands and stuff, and
Uh,
even when I was in college, I hated it. In high school, I hated the halftime shows.
uh,
I just think it's a waste of time. And of course, the Super Bowl is an extreme halftime show, and in my mind, an extreme waste of time. It's going to be all hip hop this year, apparently. Um, are you a fan of the halftime show and the commercials, or what?
I like the commercials. I think they're pretty cool. I don't really hang on every one, but I know they spend a lot of money to put them on, and they're usually kind of quirky. So yeah, I do enjoy the commercials. Especially the real intriguing ones. I'm looking forward to that. And as you said, the Super Bowl halftime is usually an extravaganza, over the top performances. And even though I'm not a fan of the music genre for this year, I'll probably tune in for a few minutes just to see what it's all about. It's a huge stage for these performers. Um, Paul McCartney's been there, Bruce Springsteen, Prince, all the big names. This year, I think they had to go a little searching for names. Maybe in some worlds, Snoop Dogg is probably tops, but I don't know overall across the country. So we'll have to see what comes of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, and I'm looking forward to see the Rams take this.
I remember the Rolling Stones the one year, and it was like watching an AARP commercial when they were performing there. It was um, they were very good, but it was just I don't know. There was something weird about seeing a 70-year-old guy jumping up and down and across the stage like that. I
Yeah.
I I don't know. I don't understand what the NFL is doing with all of this, and I don't know. I just think you know I'm just I like I said, I've never been a fan of halftime shows and the the extra halftime. I usually turn the game off at halftime if I watch it all the game. Uh, Sometimes the last few years I haven't really watched. I watched last year because I wanted to see if Brady could do it again. Um, but other than that, I really I've lost interest in the sport of football, and it's affected everything, even the Super Bowl. But I'll check in and see what's going on and stuff. But I do have a tip if you're like me and not that interested, but would like to see the commercials. Wait till tomorrow or the next day. Go to YouTube and type in best Super Bowl first Super Bowl commercials of 2022, and they usually have a compilation there of all the ads, so you don't even have to sit in front of your TV for 6 hours or whatever it is and watch the game and the commercials. Because let's face it, if you're at somebody's house watching the game, um, you don't usually get to see the commercials anyway because everybody starts talking or so to enjoy it you gotta watch them that way, I think. So, and all the news shows will have compilations anyways of the things. And it's not like it used to be years ago. It was new commercials. Now you see a lot of commercials you've been seeing for months anyway. So, but that's what I do. I watch the YouTube compilation.
That's a nice tip, so you don't have to waste your time, so to speak, right in front of the television waiting for them. But yeah, it's going to be pretty neat as it usually is with the ads. Millions of dollars they spend on it. A lot of beer ads. Looks like T-Mobile is going to be on there. Verizon, the biggies. Um, Google with this Pixel 6, maybe a little Planters Peanuts. So
And we've seen that one already. So,
okay,
you know, maybe I just watch too much TV. But, I mean, it's
yeah.
fine.
It's going to be pretty interesting. So there'll be plenty to talk about after the game. Let's go out to Vegas or wherever you can bet this game from live. I think New York just jumped into the fray and became number one in sportsbook betting.
Yeah, New York's doing all kinds of wacky crap now. I don't even know what's going on. I don't even want to know what's going on anymore.
LA Rams a 4-point favorite in this game. If you want to go with Cincinnati, they'll give you 4.5, and you can see that on our YouTube screen here. Um, The over under is 48.5. So that means you combine the overall score of the game and they're betting it's going to be either 48.5 over or 48.5 under. That's a big bet, of course. And there's all kinds of side bets on these games. Not that Gary and I promote this at all, because it's an easy way to lose your money and be parted with it. But if you're in one of those states where you can make a legal wager, or maybe you're in a Super Bowl pool, good luck to you as well from
And
the
over
base.
the age of 21.
Yeah, good luck to you. And Gary, we're going to talk a little baseball now, but I wanted to welcome back one of our longtime listeners who sent us an email this week, Jack. And
Yes,
Jack, you know who you are, and I hope you found the right place to listen to our show. That's probably why we lost a lot of listeners in the past year or two. For some reason, people can't find our show or get listening to it. But Jack, I hope you found it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Very odd because I checked the Apple podcast and everything checked out. I had it on my phone. He said he couldn't get it on his iPhone. I sent him a link,
Uh
so
huh.
hopefully he got that and he'll get to listen again. I sent him a link to the YouTube channel as well. So if he can't find, if one doesn't work, perhaps the other one will. So at least he can keep looking for us somewhere. But hi, Jack. Thanks for writing again. I'm sorry that whatever it is, and let's hope
Yep.
it works out.
Yeah. So off to our MLB news and big offer yesterday by MLB to the players on Saturday, February 12th. We have not heard of an approval yet. And in fact, I'm reading New York Post article here as I'm doing the show. Opening day at risk now as new MLB offer fails to impress union, it says here. So, Gary, it looks like whatever the gleaming, glossy uh, offers that Rob Manfred promised us on Thursday that would come to yesterday, rather, did not do it. So, apparently, this is still dragging on.
Yeah, the union was underwhelmed by the offer. The only thing when you look at it, it's very confusing. It's a lot of core economic issues they call it, and they're still so far apart. But the league has made some changes. Um, but I think they have to do more. It's a question of, if you're going to stick to your guns on certain things, then maybe on these core economic issues that you're uh, making, changes in and adding things to, that maybe you have to get closer to what the players are looking for there. Um, if that's the way you want to work it, and the other things that you say you're never going to change, you're not going to change, then stick to that. At least if you're, I mean, there was one thing there, and you can see it right here on the screen on YouTube. Um, the union, the the league increased the pre-arbitration bonus pool from 10 to 15 millions, and the players are looking for 100 million. I mean, that's 10 to 15 is nothing. If you want to negotiate, how do you negotiate that? They're looking for 100. Come back with a 50 million or something.
Yeah.
I think the regarding the minimum salary, I think that's kind of an okay thing. I don't see where the union, you know, kind of backs himself into a corner with that, and um, I don't understand the tax thing and all of that, but the numbers are still way off there. But I guess my point is, if you're willing to make some concessions, you know, make some concessions. A $5 million concession is nothing when you're 80, 90 million apart. You know, maybe if you go to 40 or something like that, and because now time is short, so if you're going to go negotiate, you can't just negotiate in $5 million increments. You've got to go higher. You've got to, the union went from 105 to 100. Right, they went five, so then the owners went from 10 to 15. I mean, it's just too far. You have to show some more that you want to negotiate, and sometimes you wonder whether either side wants to negotiate on this thing. We're getting close. The commissioner came out this week and said that uh, they believe they need a month spring training at least. So if they do not get it solved within another week or so, that could be in jeopardy of starting the season on March 31st, which then we will be either talking about a short season, um, or what. I almost believe that they are trying to push this to 154 games. I know it's only 8 games less, and they still have to get a deal done fairly quick. But they've talked about shortening the season and increasing the playoffs. And is this the way they're going to try to do it? I don't know. I would say just propose that, and do it already. You know, they could solve a lot of problems by playing double headers and stuff, but of course the union won't go for that. But I don't trust Manfred. I just think that he's ruining the game. He's making the owners rich and the game itself, the league, rich, but he's ruining the game at the same time. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to talk about him or the players as ruining the game, but like you were saying, they want $100 million in a bonus pool of some sort. Is that like pie in the sky? Is that insane? I mean, what does that mean? Is it per team? I don't understand it right off the bat.
It,
Is it per player? I don't.
no, I think what it is if you're a second year player, I I'm not gonna explain this correctly, but and you don't have arbitration, I think if you win awards and stuff, uh, you get more money added to your salary or something like that, or you get a bonus or something from this pool. And they want it for more. I think the owners want it for X amount of players. They want expanded to. Let's say that the owner wants it for 30 players. They want it for 100 players. That's the thing, I believe.
Okay,
Um,
so
and it's a total. It's they're looking for 100 million total in this pool to be distributed. Um, and you have to have certain numbers. And if you win an award or if you lead the league in hitting, that sort of thing, or if you're in the top 10 of hitting, blah, all of that you get from this pool. Um, I think it is pie in the sky to ask for 100 million, but my thought is they aim so high that and the owners were so low. That's what I'm saying. If you come back with a like say 30 million, you know, maybe the union drops it to 80. Now you're getting closer. Then maybe you can meet at 50 million or 45. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But to stay this far apart is kind of ridiculous. And look, the money's there. We all know that they're making um, tons of money. So it's there, and if they want to stick to some of their other things that they said they're not going to negotiate, then you have to do it in these manners. Uh, you've got to give in to these things and say, but we're keeping this.
yeah,
And we know you want that. Look, we'll come up. We'll give you this. Let's meet halfway. We're $85,000 away. We'll meet at 50.
yeah. And is some of the MLB players, are they kind of getting frustrated on this? As an article in the Post also talked about, a lot of players are probably on the fence that they just want to get the season started and get this done and not argue every little tooth and nail um, topic to ad infinitum and to the end of the world. So it's interesting. Some of these players are now coming out. Aaron Judge this past week, looking forward towards a settlement. He says, I'm looking forward to getting this thing done. I think we're all ready for spring training. We're in shape, and I think we're all ready. He wants to go. And I'm not so sure a lot of other players may feel that way too. Um, like you said on previous shows, is the Players Association trying to grab too much at one time?
Yeah, I think so, and I think what happens in these things is you're going to get you've got uh, the um, the rah rah union guys at the top right now, and they're doing the negotiating. And then what happens is everybody's rah rah, and now as it's getting closer to spring training in the beginning of the year, canceling it, you're going to get some of the guys that aren't as vocal, but that and there may be some big stars in there too, that are saying, as long as the owners make decent proposals. That's how you can sway these guys, and then they'll start working on other players, and they'll say, "Look, they changed this, they made this, they're coming up with this," and that sometimes they can force the executive committee because then you want to avoid like a civil war almost in your union. So to do that, you have to um, you have to listen to everybody. But after a while, people get disgusted. They want to go play ball, and they won't cave. Um, but they'll put pressure on the executive committee to get this thing done. And as I said, as long as it seems fair. Now, the leagues, like I said too, and the same thing happens on the owner's side. You get owners' side that aren't that political, but start seeing that they're losing money at the gate and whatnot. They'll start putting pressure on the negotiators and say, "Hey, look, let's get this thing settled. We're losing out. Uh, People learned in COVID that they can do other things, and now we're not going to have baseball starting on time, so people are going to find other things to do, and it's going to be hard to get them back." And again, with a lockout and that sort of thing, see what they ought to consider is to take the lockout off and open up the spring training camps and see who comes in. And if nobody comes in, then it kind of looks bad for the players' union in a way, you know. Um,
Yeah.
just say they went ahead with this lockout. I don't think it was a good idea. I think they should have just let the contract expire and then start the negotiations. They thought that a lockout would increase the negotiations, and it hasn't.
Yeah,
So
and is it going to force the MLB maybe at some point to pick up replacement players even because of this now? So whole Pandora's box is open. Fans are going to start taking notice right after the Super Bowl that hey, there's a big problem in baseball all of a sudden, and everybody's going to start weighing in. Right now, there's good for portion of fans that don't even care what's going on with baseball because they're not affected by it yet. But
right,
it's going to be interesting.
yeah, it'd be nice if they could solve it this week and get it, but they're so far apart. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, and we wait and see.
Yes, we do. Well, we thank you for joining into this special edition of the Baseball Talk Radio
Rich,
Show podcast.
just one more thing. Uh,
Yes.
we can sad story, but Jeremy Giambi, the brother of Jason Giambi, uh, passed away this past week, the age of 47. It is rumored that it was suicide. Our condolences go out to the family. And last week we missed the passing of Gerald Williams, an outfielder who played with a number of teams, 14 seasons, had a nice career. Played with the Yankees, the Mets, the Braves. People remember a lot with the Braves. He may have played with the Phillies too for a spell. I'm not sure. But he passed away at the age of 55 after a long battle with cancer. And I'm not sure if we missed it a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if we mentioned it. A former relief pitcher for the Mets, Jeff Innes, passed away also of cancer, and he was young. I think he was 46 or something, 49, something in that range. So I just wanted to mention those. Sad about all three guys. Sad with Giambi that he felt he had to take his own life. That things weren't working out. Well, whatever. Who knows? But that report just came through that he passed away, and uh, that there are reports that it was suicide, and we'll see more as that story gets released. But he was one of those steroid guys, apparently a big time user of steroids. So wonder if that had anything to do with the condition or whatever. Um, but our condolences go out to all three families um, on the loss of their loved one.
Yes, indeed. What a terrible shame. And Yeah, the news goes on, even though around the MLB and the Players Association not coming to a settlement. But yeah, there's always news to talk about, and we thank you for tuning into this show, our special Super Bowl Sunday edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. And stop on by our Anchor.fm site. It's anchor.fm/Baseball Talk Radio Show, all one word. You can hit the support button that's right in the center there. Send us a little monthly donation here from anywhere from $1 to $5 to $9.99 a month. I'll process your transaction right through there. You can even send us a message, a voicemail message, come right to the show, and we'll get it on. Maybe put it on the air if it's good enough. So send it in. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Gary, it's been fun time talking with you. I hope we enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about it on the next show for sure.
Yeah, Rich, and I'll see you next week on another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show.
Take care, everyone.